going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So the prejudging of the 2023 Mr. Olympia Men's Open just wrapped up. And you guys, we have a lot to talk about. Every single one of these competitors showed up in excellent condition. Even some of the guys that I weren't expecting to show up in condition, like Hassan Mustafa, this was a very comparable lineup across the board in terms of conditioning, which was absolutely fantastic to see. Now, the individual routines really built up the anticipation to the comparisons, and I'll go through some of the highlights of the individual routines as we look at the comparisons, but the first call-out did consist of Samson Dowda, Derek Lunsford, Brandon Curry, Hunter Labrada, HADI Chupin, and Andrew Jacked. Now, we'll take a look at the first call-out, we'll take a look at the second call-out, and we'll take a look at the call-out for the top three. So looking at the first call-out, Hunter Labrada showed up with a really great overall package. I think he was every bit as good here as what we saw at the Tampa Pro earlier this year, and one of the goals that Hunter wanted to achieve was to make it back into that first call-out. So Hunter did achieve that goal. Hunter, Brandon, and Andrew Jacked were mainly kept to the outside of the first call-out, but you know, it was especially hard to ignore Andrew, no matter where this guy was moved around. He's just such an imposing presence on that stage. Andrew did look like he put on some more overall size, but still, I think he needs to put on a few more pounds on that frame to really get into that top 3 situation at the Olympia, or even top 4. But he was in great condition, and he is improving from show to show. As for Brandon Curry, we weren't really sure how Brandon was going to show up after he was in the hospital at one day out, but Brandon did deliver probably the best package that we've seen from him since the 2019 Olympia. The quads looked to be improved in overall size, there was more separation to the quads as well, and of course, the upper body was definitely on point. So this was a more complete package for Brandon. He had a rough start to the Olympia weekend, but he did show up in competitive shape. Now, I'm going to talk more about Samson, Derek, and HADI when we get to the top 3 call-outs. But looking at the second call-out, we had Michael Krizo, Hassan Mustafa, Regan Grimes, Tony O'Burton, and Charles Griffin. So this does look like we're going to have an idea of what the top 10 is going to be. And you know what? All of these guys compared very well. Like I said, conditioning was on point for everyone in this lineup. Now, looking at Michael Krizo, I think the overall mass that Krizo brought really had him at the top of the second call-out, and I do think that he's battling for that 6th place spot. We wanted to see improvements from Krizo from the back, and I think we did. He may still have some more work to do, but it's definitely moving in the right direction. Hassan Mustafa, like I said earlier, he did bring the conditioning. I was very impressed by Hassan in this lineup. Regan showed up looking to be at his best, and his superior shape is definitely going to carry him up the ranks in this lineup. But, you know, the same can be said about Tony O'Burton. But the thing is, both of these guys are going to be pushing for a top 6 spot as soon as they add a few more pounds next season. Now, Charles Griffin, he did have great conditioning, and we were all expecting him to have great conditioning in this lineup. But man, since everyone's conditioning was so on in this lineup, I think we saw Charles land in around that 10th place spot after prejudging. But you know what? He was going for 10th place, so it looks like he just might achieve his goal. But this was a very impressive second call-out, and like I said, Krizo, I think for sure, will have another chance to battle it out for a top 6 spot. Now, as for the top 3 call-out, we had the final call-out with Samson Dowda, Derek Lunsford, and HADI Chupin. And the judges really worked these guys. Each of them got a chance to stand in the middle of that top 3 call-out. Now, during the individual routines, Samson came out and, you know, he had a really big reaction from the crowd. He came out looking absolutely massive. He was separated in the quads. The midsection was dialed in. He had that signature flow through his poses that really looked very impressive. And you know what? The back did look to be improved in thickness and in overall depth. So overall, I would say that Samson delivered on the improvements that he said was coming. But when Derek Lunsford came out for his individual routine, the crowd absolutely erupted. Derek definitely had the biggest crowd response. But even though we've seen a lot of updates from Derek leading up to the show, I don't think that anyone saw what was coming. When Derek first came out and he flexed that quad, honestly, you guys, my eyes widened and my jaw nearly hit the floor. Derek was massively improved, basically everywhere. We wanted to see the increased size in the legs and better posing in the front shots, and we definitely did. His chest was bigger, the hamstrings and glutes were striated more than anyone else in this lineup, and the back double bicep. It certainly did not disappoint. Derek definitely had the best back double in the show. But he actually held his poses for at least a few seconds each during his individual routine. He really took his time with that, and that allowed us and the judges to really see the amount of improvements that he's made. Derek 100% delivered in this lineup. Now, HADI Chupin, he was also very impressive. HADI showcased the most striations through the chest, which, he usually does. Phil Heath was saying it during the live stream commentary. HADI actually flexes his chest in the side shots, so you can see those striations, and it does make the shot look very impressive. The midsection did not look like it grew despite HADI looking like he's gained some overall size, and that was one thing I said coming into the show was I was afraid that HADI was going to start gaining some thickness in the midsection because, I just think that his frame is maxed out. But that did not appear to be the case. The quads were also separated, and he was comparing to Derek very well in the back shots, although I do think that Derek was winning from the back. If I had to make a call right now, I would say that Derek is ahead after prejudging, with HADI very close behind in second place. And I do think that SAMSON was getting edged out from the back by both Derek and HADI, as well as from the side. The glute hamstring separation from Derek in the side shots was one thing that I think really put him over the top. So after prejudging, I think that would land SAMSON in third place. If I had to guess for everyone else, I would say that Brandon is in fourth place. Andrew Jack, I think, looks to be in fifth place, and I have Hunter in sixth place after prejudging. But you know what? You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think of the overall improvements from Derek, HADI, and SAMSON? And who do you have ahead after prejudging? But look, that's going to wrap it up for the prejudging in this video, you guys. Tomorrow we have the classic physique prejudging and finals, and then we'll see the final battle for the Mr. Olympia title. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning into EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.